Alright guys, it's been a while since I had a video like this here. I'm going to work on the Atlas 6x6. So it's got a unique problem here. I'll kind of show you what it's doing here in just a minute, but haven't had it out for a while. It's getting to be cold out, which is typically when I like to climb for some reason and crawl and all that stuff. But um, we're going to take a look at it here, see if we can figure out what it's doing, what's going on. I think I might know, and I'll walk you through what I think, and then we'll tear it apart and kind of see if I'm right or not. So let's look at what it's doing, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so there's the truck, and we got power on it, as you can see here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm put my hand down here and just kind of hold it down, and you'll hear what it's doing. I'm going to go forward a little bit. See how it's doing that? Click, click, click. So what I think it's doing, let me get it unplugged here. What I think it's doing is I think it's not shimmed properly on each one of these housings here. So what I want to do just for test here is take apart this one here just to see if maybe I can shim that up, if it does any better, and go from there. And this whole axle here, I need to take and kind of rotate it a little bit, but I have not found the correct link sizes that I need to do that, because I need shorter links to fit on there to kind of bring that top up and around a little bit. That way this won't be as such a severe bend. I mean, it doesn't hurt anything, but I like to kind of keep it, in line if I could. And then up here too, I got some slop. Those little things right there are what I'm trying to work on and fix right now. Those are just actually the screws that go in here. See if I can get this pulled up here. So if you see on the one side here, there's a screw hole, right? On the other side, that's what comes through. Now, since it's not, like a tight tolerance, this is what typically happens. Get it to focus down on. So you see all that slop there? Look at the hole as I do this. Some of that shimming down here, and some of it's just the fact that that's the way it is on these cheaper axles here. The problem is I have not found any other axles that are any better. I've tried 3 sets now. These are the best ones that I found. They're actually for the FMS Cheyenne, I do believe. And I didn't want to use the plastic ones because of how much power I have going through here. I know it's just going to strip those out if I do, so I kind of had to use something like this. So until I find a better fit, this is what I'm using. So it's not the best, but it will work. Now, it's not going to create enough slop to where it's really going to affect me driving it or anything like that, but it's just annoying to me. I would much rather have something better and tighter to fit in there. And I mean, this right here, that's not too bad either. I know a lot of people said that, well, I got a few buddies, not a lot of people, but a few buddies of mine have said that, oh, I shouldn't do that. You don't, that's too much in the wheels and da 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 da. I don't think it's bad, honestly. If that's going to hurt me crawling, I mean, honestly, look. If that's going to hurt me, I got bigger problems, really. So, let's dig right into it here. Get that back pumpkin thing off there, and then we'll see if that's what it is that's going on, or if it's something else. Alright, so this is what I think's going on here. So if you take one of these shafts, if I can get it up here, okay, and if you look and see how much slop is there, what I'm doing is on the inside of these, behind the input and output gears, or whatever you call them there, I'm just adding a washer. And if you look on this one here, no movement anymore at all, but it does run free on the inside, so you can see that. What I did was I added one of these washers after the bearing, so you'd have the bearing closest to the housing, then I'd have the washer behind that, then the output. Hopefully that'll keep it close to the ring gear and keep it from skipping. Give you a better look there. There's the bearing on the inside. Here's the output. There's the washer I'm putting on. So we're just going to put it on like so which I have to do this with the pliers there, so it's not going to be 100% perfect. And then on the other side there, we just reconnect our shaft, and it's going to be a lot tighter for the connection there. So should kind of help keep the gear closer to the ring gear there, and help it engage better without it skipping around, because what it's doing is it's moving, and whenever there's any decent amount of torque, it just kind of skips off of that, not really causing any damage because there's so much slop on both sides. So what I'm going to try that first and see if that stops the skipping. Okay, so after shimming it on the one side here, I tried two sides, it was too tight, but it's kind of noisy now, and I think I held this, I can't do it on camera with two hands, but I held this down while I was trying to turn it, and it's definitely coming from the transmission. So let me show you how noisy it is now. So probably going to take this shim back out and take apart the transmission, see if I can figure out what's going on in there. Something is skipping around or something here, so I just got to find it. So it's not in these axles here like I thought. It's coming from the transmission for sure. Okay, so upon further inspection here, I've noticed that it's not really the transmission. I think it's something to do with the motor itself, or possibly the ESC. This is a Lizard Pro ESC, and this is a Komodo, where's it at? Komodo 2204 1400 kV. When I got this thing, it was amazing. But if I sit here and just lightly hold my fingers on this and hit the throttle, this won't go anywhere. It's like the whatever's, I don't really know how the brush motors work exactly, but whatever's on the inside there is, it's almost like it's wore out already, and I haven't used this very much at all. So for the time being, I do have a brushed, or I'm sorry, this is a brushless system here that I have, but I don't have any pinions for it. So this is a hobby wing, and it's made for 16th and 18th scale. It's an easy run series. I think it's how much is the amperage on here? I think it's like 30 amps or something. I don't remember. Anyway, I was going to put this one in here, but I can't find any pinions, so I'm going to have to wait on that. That might eventually go back in there. I don't know. We'll just see. Because I do have this PN Racing, I think this is a 130 size motor. I'm not sure. But it's a PN Racing brushed motor, and I'm going to put it in there with probably this Iguana brushed ESC. We'll see how this works out, because this is a FuryTech Iguana. This is a FuryTech Iguana, and it's a decent ESC. I've used it before, a couple of different things. So we're going to try to pair it up with the motor here and see if we can get any luck on that. So right now I'm just kind of looking for screws and things like that to kind of fit the motor right there. I've got one screw that I found, but in this kit, I think that's all that came in there was that one silver screw down there. I don't see another one there. So I got to go digging through my parts bin until I can find one, because these are the old screws for the Komodo, and they're just too big. So got to dig in there a little bit. I'm going to also look while I have it apart here for links that are a little bit shorter than this, so I can try to get that axle straightened out, the housing. If not, we'll put them back on, because I'm definitely going to try to run this truck here soon, and we'll just see what we can find here. So didn't want to hodgepodge it like this, but I don't really have a whole lot of choice, and this thing's a badass when it runs. So it doesn't matter to me if I got the brushless power. If I got a good brushed motor, this is a 90 turn from PN Racing, and it's made for the SX24s, and it's supposed to be one hell of an upgrade for that. So I'm just going to kind of see what it'll do in here. I may be happy with it, who knows. So let's check it out. Alright, so I put in the PN Racing stuff here. I'm going to show you what it looks like and everything here for a minute, but I'm kind of disgusted, guys. It's not what I wanted. It's not,
it's not how the other one even performs, and it's a shame because the other one, the Komodo, I think something's wrong with the motor because it when it starts up. I mean, you've seen this before, but I'm trying to describe it myself so I understand it. It's when you start it up, it kind of doesn't have the torque. The minute you put any torque on there, it just kind of like spins. So I don't know what that is, but there's definitely something wrong. I went all throughout the ESC. I can't figure anything out with that. Um, I've been through all the settings, and I've done the same thing on what I got now. So this is a 130 sized brush motor. It, it's not terrible, but it's brush. I mean, when you work with brushless there for a while on this truck, you kind of get spoiled to it. So let me show you what it's doing. Right, so this is why I'm unhappy with it. Okay, we got my controller here. We're gonna do one-handed driving, but watch the trigger as I pull it. That's where it comes in. About an eighth to a quarter throttle is where it starts to come in. Now I've raised the telemetry control and all that stuff. I've kind of ground out the low end punch or whatever. Got it raised up as high as I can. I got it drug out to 40 on the curve, so it'll actually kind of slowly get there. But I mean, it's okay, but it's nothing like what I had. So just watch right here where my fingers at. That's it. So it waits till it gets to almost 20% before it even kicks in. Now another thing too, that's full beans. Again, not terrible, but not what I want. All right, so here's the setup inside here. Here's the PN motor. I mean, it's not getting hot or anything. It's fine. If I could just dial that down and get some of that slow crawl back, I'd be happy. All right, so I went back to the brushless setup. This seems to be the only one that really wants to work, at least halfway decent from what I have here. I do have to figure out what's going on with the motor, but it's going to have to wait. I mean, in the meantime, it's still the best that I have. I mean, just look at that. Barely hitting the throttle. That's what I want. So, shimming didn't seem to help. Um, it's really this motor right here. So I'll see if I can get this on camera here. It's kind of hard to do everything one-handed. I'll put my finger on it there, and then I'll give it a little bit of throttle, see if I can get both of them in there, and see how the motor don't want to go. I don't know what that is. I've never had it do that before. And I don't know if something got damaged, it got wet, whatever. I don't know. So that's something I kind of got to figure out. But in the meantime, it's still fantastic. It still does a great job. I just got to play around with the throttle sometimes because of that. But it's still miles better than the PN Racing. The PN Racing, I'm actually very disappointed with that setup. It's supposed to be a hell of an upgrade for an SEX24, which, this is basically the same thing, just an extra added wheel on the back there, and the drivetrain doesn't have that much more strain on it, so it doesn't make any sense to me. But, it is what it is. So for right now, we're just going to play with it that way. In the meantime, we're just going to get it out, have a little bit of fun with it, and I'll show you how good it is on the next video that I get it out here. It's still very good, very solid, very capable machine. But I'd like to have that problem figured out. It's got to be something simple. The more I think about it, the more I rack my brain. So I'm going to do a little bit of research, and in the meantime, I'm just going to play with it as is. And if anybody knows what this is doing, I'd love to hear from you. So thanks for watching. We'll get it out again here soon, guys.